Hello, and this is Kurokami, and I'm back for my second Junji collection episode review. And before anything, I want to say spoiler warning is in effect going over the whole episode. But I'm going to say this episode was a lot better than last week's episode, simply because the stories they chose were a lot better. And the first one was Fashion Model, and that was 32 pages of the original story. And Long Dream, which was also 32 pages. So, yeah, both of them were very interesting. And before I actually get into talking about the actual episode, I do want to say I think the opening is really starting to grow on me. It's very hype, and at first I was like, but I have a feeling by the end of the series I'm gonna really enjoy it. But yeah, anyway. And the other thing was frame rate issues. I don't think it was much of a problem in the first episode. I'll actually have to go back and look at it. But I did see some frame rate issues where it was just looked a little bit under budget. But besides that, it looked good, and again, it felt like a Junji manga. They actually followed it pretty much word for word from the manga. I went back and I read the chapters, and yeah, it was spot on. So that's a very good positive. But anyway, okay, let's get into the actual episode. So, Fashion Model. This is about Iwasaki, and he is essentially a scriptwriter. And he always can see or has a gut feeling that something bad's going to happen. And on this particular day, he has that feeling. So he goes into the local coffee shop just to clear his mind, and he sees a model magazine, and he's looking through it. And he's like, oh, okay. And then he sees this woman. And boy, is she creepy. Like, she just has that disgusting look on her face. And he knows it. And he's like, why? Why is she in this magazine? And it starts sinking into him, and he can't not see that face anymore. He's up several nights in a row, and all he can do is see this woman's face. And he talks to the guy he's working with about it, and he's just like, dude, quit, and it starts affecting his work. And he's like, to Iwasaki, he's like, if you can't write this script, then I'm gonna have to get someone else. And anyway, so it skips, and he says over a long period of time, he eventually forgets it. And the script he writes was actually very good. They won first place in their contest, so they wanted to do another one. So they went searching for female talent, and they only actually got 3 people interested. But they were like, oh, that's to be expected. We're still amateurs in this field. But yeah, so they see the first one, and like, okay, she's an okay girl. And then they pick the other one, and they're like, oh, wow, she's beautiful. We're going to pick her. And like, oh, wow, we almost forgot about the third one. And guess what the third one is? It was that creepy woman from before. And Iwasaki just starts freaking out. He's just like, no, this is a woman. Do not hire her. And they're like, maybe we should just really show the difference in this beautiful girl and this creep. So they decide to hire both of them, and they decide to meet them at the coffee shop in person. They meet the first young girl, and she's beautiful, and they're having a good time. And they're like, well, where's this other woman at? And she comes up, and they look up, and she is tall. This woman is tall, and she just has disgusting vibe. But what I actually did enjoy in the anime is that they gave her a really funny voice. It's very feminine kind of, and it didn't match her appearance at all, and it was actually a really good choice. But anyway, apparently this woman is a professional model. That's why they wanted her in the movie, to get some extra publicity. But yeah, and then Iwasaki's friend says to her, and in her face, yeah, Iwasaki's one of your biggest fans. Oh, that was pretty funny. But anyway, okay, so then it skips to them driving to set, and they're all in this huge van, and they're going up into the mountains. And they're all goofing off in the van, and one of them cracks a joke about shooting a horror film because, you know, this woman's in it. And they all kind of giggle, but then she starts to laugh. And when she starts to laugh, she opens her mouth to reveal these disgusting razor sharp, almost like shark teeth, where there's just rows of teeth, and a couple of them see it, but not all. But yeah, they're freaked out. So when they finally get to the set, they start filming, and they're like, what are we gonna do about this woman? And they're thinking about leaving her in the woods, just leaving her and going. But they're like, well, what if she wants to get revenge on us? Iwasaki sees her just giving him daggers, and he gets mad. He's like, I'm gonna go wash my face. And he walks by himself, which in horror is never a good idea. But yeah, she's there, and she just starts chasing him through the woods, and that was actually kind of creepy, I'm not gonna lie. And finally, he gets back and he tells him, we're leaving this girl. And they're like, well, really? And by that time, she's there again, so there's not much they can do. And they continue filming some more, and then this disgusting woman decides to get angry. She's like, well, why are you not filming me at all? And they're like, well, listen, you have a big part, so let's take a break. And now the friends are all talking about like what we got to do. And one of the other guys comes stumbling over, and he's freaking out. He's like, she is eating the girl. And they're like, what? She's like, yeah, that creepy woman is eating the other girl because she's jealous that she was not being filmed. And they don't believe him. But then Iwasaki slowly, he's like, yeah, I think I do believe you. And they go over to where it happened, and they see blood all over the rocks. And then guess what? The creepy woman comes up, and I mean, now she looks monstrous. Like, blood everywhere, just disgusting. And she goes to chase him, and she grabs the one guy, kills him. So there's 3 guys left, include the one being Iwasaki, and then he trips. And then his other 2 friends kind of just ditch him, and he's like, what way? And then she says, oh, finally, it's just us 2. And that's the end of that. And now we hop into the second story, Long Dream. So it starts off with this girl, she's in bed and she's screaming, like, I don't want to die, I don't want to die. And they don't understand, like, why she's acting like this. And she's in her bed at night, and this figure comes into her room, and she just screams. And then it skips to the next day, and the doctors are talking about her, and they're just like, yeah, her condition's unstable, and she says, like, death visited her in her room. So they're just figuring out, like, what they're going to do about this woman. But then this new guy shows up, and he pretty much says that I'm having these long dreams, and his name is Tetsu Tall. And the doctor's talking to him. He's like, well, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, it started off like my dream felt like a whole day, and then a couple days, and now it's up to a week. And they're like, huh. And so he's like, take me serious. And the doctor is a little bit skeptical at first, but he decides to take him serious. And while the boy is sleeping, he puts probes all over him, like, and he's monitoring his sleep. And he sees that he has a convulsion, and in that split second is when this supposed long dream happens. So the actual long dream is only happening for a split second in reality, but in Tetsudo's eyes, it's lasting a lot longer than that. So the doctor continues to work with him, and he's just like, doctor, they're getting longer. Like last night, I slept for a whole year. I'm starting to go, I feel like I'm going to go crazy. You need to do something. He's like, I'm working on it. And he's like, well, this can't continue on, or else I'm going to eventually lose my mind. So then it gets so bad that Tetsudo actual features start changing, and he's turning almost like monstrous, and he has a very long dream. And in his dream, the girl I talked about in the beginning of the episode was, I forget what her name was, but Tetsuro's dream, he was married to her. So he didn't believe the reality that was reality. He believed that this was the dream. And he runs in there, and he's like, "Darling, I've came back for you." And she freaks out, and she calls him, I believe, the Grim Reaper. And he just gets depressed because this was his wife in his dream. And then he puts two and two together, and he's like, "Oh, so that was the dream." And the doctor's like, "Yeah, your condition's getting worse." And he's like, "Well, doctor, I feel like I'm going to have an internal dream where it's never going to end. What happens to a man when that happens?" And pretty much the doctor can't save him. It gets so bad where he literally has an eternal dream, and he deforms to the point of no return. He literally turned to dust. And that's actually the part that was actually kind of sad. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't scary, but it was sad, because the music that they played that with, like, when Tetsuro died, it was a good choice. And like, as his body like flakes away in the wind, like, they play this really good song, and it really makes you feel for him, to be honest. Kind of weird for a Junji story. Finally, the girl who was screaming and freaking out that she didn't want to die, she started to be okay again. And I assume it's because Tetsuro was dead, so there was some sort of connection there. But then she says, "Doctor, it's strange. I'm feeling better, but I'm having long dreams." And he's like, "Oh." He goes into the hallway, the doctor, and the other doctor comes up, and he's like, "No, this is bad, he's bad. This is bad, this is bad." And it turns out that the doctor used the fragments of Tetsuro's like brain matter that turned into dust and was injecting it into this girl. So it's kind of like a virus now. And he just starts talking crazy where he's like, "Well, what if we put like everyone into this state? Because it's like no one would ever have to fear death again. You'd just be in an eternal dream." And then it shows a picture of the girl again, and yeah, she's gonna go down fast. Okay, that was episode 2 of the Junji Ito Collection series. I really hope that you liked this review, and I'll be back next week for the 3rd episode. I hope that the next stories will be even better. But okay, this is Kurokami, and I am going to be signing off for now. Thanks for watching. Bye.